What's up, everybody? My name is Anthony from Knicks Nation, and today I'm going to get into 5 things that the New York Knicks need to accomplish this season for the 2022-2023 upcoming season. I'm recording this on September 26th. The season starts on October 19th. They open up the season versus the Memphis Grizzlies in Memphis, so a tough matchup right out the gate. But hey, that's the NBA schedule, and I think this team is built for it. Let's get into it. So I came up with 5 things that I think that the New York Knicks need to accomplish this season. Obviously, last season was a disaster. They finished 37-45, 11th in the East, after coming off an amazing season the season prior, where they finished 41-31, 4th in the East. They got knocked out in the first round. We all know how that series went. The first thing I think the Knicks need to accomplish this season is I think they need to improve their record, and I think they need to get back into the playoffs, whether that's top 6 or top 10. To me, I think they could be a playoff team. I think they could be a playing team. It does not matter, but last season, 37-45 is unacceptable. They cannot go into this season and repeat their same old ways last season, not finishing games, players taking massive steps back. It was just an overall disaster last season. So number one, I think they need to get back in the playoffs. I think they need to improve their record, improve the culture a little bit. And I think the additions of Brunson and Ihart, everyone seems rejuvenated. Randall seems rejuvenated. I think that this team could be top 10 team. So with them improving their record this season, it obviously gets things back on track and starts moving things in the right direction, because you don't want to take a step back from last season, because if the Knicks take a step back from last season, then I can only imagine what's going to go down next summer. And we do not, as Knicks fans, want anything like that to happen. We don't want to blow up anything, because we've been through many regimes, many coaches, many players, and we just don't want to repeat the same old process again. We don't want to take 2 steps forward, take 1 step back, then 3 steps back. We don't want to do that. We want to stay the course, stay consistent, stay building. They've had a lot of good drafts these past few years with Grimes, Robinson, Obi, Quickley. I think that's the nucleus that they need to grow. So number one, improve your record. Second thing that I think the New York Knicks need to accomplish as a team, as an organization this season, is improve the development of Immanuel Quickley, Obi Toppin, Quentin Grimes, and Mitchell Robinson. While I think that the young players have improved from their rookie season, Immanuel Quickley especially, last season he took a step back in efficiency. I think he'll get back on track this season, because Immanuel Quickley has been working out like crazy this summer, has been in the gym. He just looks ready. He looks like a player that's going to take a massive leap, in my opinion. Obi Toppin improved towards the end of last season. His defense got better. His 3-point shooting got better. Look, if Obi Toppin can become a starter in this league, and if somehow the Knicks can find a trade partner for Julius and that can push Obi into the starting lineup. A lot of fans don't think he's ready. A lot do. Me personally, I think that he still needs a little bit more time to develop. I think the addition of Jalen Brunson would tremendously help him. Obviously, you have Obi coming off the bench, so I don't know how the minutes are going to work. I don't know who he's going to play with off the bench. He'll probably play with Rose and Quickley more rather than Brunson, but I definitely want to see him play with Brunson. I definitely want to see Obi Toppin get some minutes with Jalen Brunson, because I'm excited to see what that can come about. Obi Toppin is electric, and Jalen Brunson is the first legit point guard the Knicks have had in a while. So yeah, I'm excited for what Obi has to bring this season. And then you have Quentin Grimes. Quentin Grimes is a shooting guard. He's listed at 6'4". He can shoot the rock. He can defend. He can do all the intangibles that Tom Thibodeau loves. Obviously, the subject coming into training camp is whether Quentin Grimes can beat out Evan Fournier in starting. I think he can, but Quentin Grimes also has to stay healthy this season. I think the Knicks want Quentin Grimes to be the shooting guard of the future. And granted, Evan Fournier is still on this team. Come training camp, I think Quentin Grimes can beat him out. Look, the Knicks love Quentin Grimes. They are very high on him. We want to see it as fans. We want to see the upside. We want to see what Quentin Grimes can offer. We want to see if he can be that starting shooting guard. I think he can average like about 15 points, 40% shooting from 3, and play solid defense. That's all we really need out of Quentin Grimes. We just need him to be a solid defender and a solid, efficient shooter. Look, he could be that player. He's still young. And then you obviously have Mitchell Robinson. Mitchell Robinson got his extension, 4 years, $60 million. The Knicks believed in him. They gave him the money. It was earned. He's a great defender. He doesn't really have an offensive game, but I think Jalen Brunson would unlock some of the things that we haven't seen from Mitch yet, because Mitch isn't also an electric player. He can obviously block shots. He can protect the paint. He can play the pick and roll. Foul trouble has been Mitchell Robinson's stigma. Last season, he improved on that. Last season, he improved on health as well. Mitchell Robinson, whether you like it or not, is the center. Obviously, you got Ihart backing him up. God forbid something happens. And obviously, Ihart, who's a tremendous backup center, one of the best rim defenders in the NBA. He can shoot the three, he can spread the floor. Obviously, you can just insert him into the starting lineup. But yeah, the number 2 reason is player development. These players need to develop this season. These players need to become a nucleus of a championship team. So yeah, develop. The third thing that I think the Knicks need to accomplish this season is I need to see growth from Tom Thibodeau. And yes, that sounds crazy that I need to see growth from a head coach that's been coaching since 2010. But last season, I think, wasn't a great year for Tom Thibodeau. His rotations, his record, his stubbornness, I think all of those things need to improve this season. Tom Thibodeau did not play the young players when he needed to. Julius Randle, Evan Fournier, when the veterans were struggling, Tom Thibodeau, his substitution patterns drove Knicks fans crazy last year, and for good reason. It was warranted. Because Tom Thibodeau, look, he's a great coach. I think he's a great coach. And I don't want the Knicks to fire him, me personally, because that, in my eyes, would take this franchise back even more, because we've been through so many coaches over the last 10 years that firing Tom Thibodeau, it's just like a sticky situation for me. Like, I don't want it to happen, but look, we need to see growth from you. We need to see that you've learned from your mistakes last season. Playing Obi Toppin 10, 11, 12 minutes a game was just simply unacceptable. Obi Toppin deserved to play more last season, and Tom Thibodeau admitted that towards the end of last season. He was like, look, I messed up. Obi Toppin has vastly improved. So Tom Thibodeau, granted, he won Coach of the Year with the Knicks. So he went from winning Coach of the Year to a 37-45 record. And also, Tom Thibodeau, last season in the third quarter of doom, when the Knicks came out flat. The Knicks came out flat so many times last season after halftime. For some reason, I don't know what was going on in that locker room during halftime, but last season, the Knicks, watching them in the third quarter, it made you want to pull your hair out because they looked like a totally different team and no one could pinpoint what was going on. Everyone just thought that they weren't making the proper adjustments. Other teams were making adjustments. We were just running the same plays. Like, other teams will play zone against us, and zone last season, the Knicks couldn't figure it out at all. Adjustments. So coming out of the third quarter, we want to see improvement. We want to see that the Knicks are hungry. We want to see that the Knicks want to win that particular game. There were so many times that the Knicks just looked like they took the night off and did not care. And look, it was just, last season was awful. We don't want to see that again this season. We don't want to see them blowing leads. We don't want to see none of that. So adjustments, rotations, stubbornness, all of those areas Tom Thibodeau needs to address this season, and he needs to fix. The fourth thing that the Knicks need to accomplish this season is RJ Barrett needs to become the face of the franchise. The New York Knicks rewarded him with a 4-year, $100+ million rookie extension. While some may look at that as an overpay, in my eyes, that contract, RJ Barrett is worth every penny of it. RJ Barrett is a 6'7" wing, and wings in the NBA are very valuable, and RJ Barrett, from his rookie season, improved every single season. His efficiency took a step back last season. Watching him play and watching his style of play, he was the Knicks' best player last season, and the Knicks need him to become the face of their franchise, because this summer was a hectic summer, and for Knicks fans, they had him included in a Donovan Mitchell trade that never fell through. So whether you want to believe those reports or not, me personally, RJ Barrett needs to come into training camp. He needs to come into this season. He needs to demand the ball more. He needs to say, this is my team, this is my gym, this is my court, and he needs to take over. He needs to become an all-star. Like, I think RJ Barrett can become an all-star, and I think he has all-star potential, but the Knicks desperately need him to become that 1B to somebody's 1A, and I want that somebody to be the Knicks. I want the New York Knicks acquire superstar, and RJ Barrett is right by their side, helping them win a championship, because they drafted him 3 years ago. They drafted him at number 3. They believed in him. Knicks fans love RJ Barrett. He has embraced the city. He loves everything about Madison Square Garden, the Knicks fans. I can tell RJ Barrett is that dude, you know. Last season, after a lot of losses, the Knicks threw RJ Barrett in front of the camera rather than Julius Randle. Remember, Julius Randle, after a lot of losses last season, was hiding from the media, hiding from the press, and who was right front and center talking to the press? RJ Barrett. So RJ Barrett, to me, needs to become the face of the New York Knicks. So me personally, I think in like 2 years, the contract that RJ Barrett signed a few weeks ago is going to look like an underpay. Last season, you showed us the glimpses, and this season, we want you to take it and just ball out and have a great year. The fifth and final thing that I think the Knicks need to improve on and accomplish this season is they need to get better as an organization from top to bottom. What I mean by that is a lot of Knicks fans are confused about the direction that this team wants to go in. It seems clouded. A lot of us don't really know the plan. Obviously, we want the young players to play, and we want the young players to improve tremendously this season. But at the same time, they went out and signed Jalen Brunson to a massive contract. They got iHeart for a really good deal. They traded their 11th pick in this year's draft to sign Jalen Brunson. Clearly, they want to win, but do they? Because you have all your cap space locked up. Julius Randle is making over $100 million. RJ Barrett is making over $100 million. Jalen Brunson is making over $100 million. Evan Fournier is making a lot of money. Mitchell Robinson is making $60 million. So with all of those players making a lot of money, their cap space is pretty much locked up. Granted, you can make trades, you can open up cap space. The Knicks have a very savvy front office. As of right now, the Knicks are projected to be a play-in team, and some experts don't even think they can make the playoffs. And in my eyes, that's a tragedy, because with all of these contracts on your books, with all of these players that are like not superstars, but they're like good players, and like we can maybe make the playoffs with them, or we can not make the playoffs. In my eyes, not making the playoffs, missing the play-in tournament, it just doesn't sit well, and it won't look right around the league. It won't look right towards the media. It won't look right to me, and it won't look right to fans, because you've signed all these players to massive deals, you've rewarded them to massive deals, and what really is there to show for it? Which is why I think this year they need to make the playoffs. They need to improve their team, because paying all of these players to these massive deals and not making the playoffs, it just looks bad, you know. It just doesn't sit well with me, which is why I think they need to try desperately to try to trade Randle, open up some cap flexibility. To me, with the emergence of Obi Toppin, it just doesn't make sense to play Julius Randle. Obi Toppin, I think, fits this offense better than Julius Randle. Right now, as a team, I don't think Julius Randle fits cap-wise and style of play-wise. Is the plan to develop our young players, or is the plan to win? Or is the plan both? Right now, I think the Knicks are stuck in the middle. I don't think they have picked a direction. Julius Randle had this amazing season 2 years ago, and they got brainwashed into giving him that massive contract. You gave him the money, he took a step back last season. The Knicks got the 11th pick. The Knicks traded that 11th pick to sign Jalen Brunson to a massive contract. Granted, we need a point guard. I'm happy that Jalen Brunson is on this team, but that shows us that you don't think Immanuel Quickley is a starter in this league, because unless you're starting Immanuel Quickley next to Jalen Brunson, which I don't think is going to happen, I think it's going to be Grimes, and you're essentially putting a cap on Immanuel Quickley. Because yes, while I think he works perfect off the bench, what you're telling us is that he's not a starter. Jalen Brunson is our starter. Immanuel Quickley improved last season. I'm fine with that, but I don't think Immanuel Quickley has shown us enough to not get that starting job, if that makes sense. I think this year is going to be a massive step forward for Immanuel Quickley. So in my eyes, organizationally, from Leon Rose to Scott Perry down to Tom Thibodeau, I just want the plan to be clear. This season is very critical for the front office and Tom Thibodeau, in my opinion, because what they do at the trade deadline is really going to show us as fans the mission. I don't want in the future the Knicks to be hamstrung with all of these contracts, and let's say these players regress and now they have all of these contracts on their books and they can't trade them. They're going to have to start attaching first-round picks to these contracts, and that's not how you should be using your first-round picks. So as an organization, just be more clear and transparent. We're hungry. We want to win. We've been winning for a while. We really hope this front office and this coaching staff can come together and make the Knicks on top again. We'll see what happens. So those are the 5 things that I think the Knicks need to accomplish this season. If you like this video, please hit the thumbs up button. Please subscribe to the channel. Until next time, peace.